Hi, I'm Susan McDonald, and I'm a I do transformational change. My company is called Transformational Change.
And who would Susan be if you didn't have a company?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I know that I am an infinite divine spirit gifted with an intellect living in a human body, and I'm always looking for ways to help people grow, develop, and know how much goodness there is inside of them, because this world tends to beat us up. And I know from experience that the more you're criticized, the more you hide. And so many people are really suffering these days. And I just love to bring out the best in people, to sometimes be the only bright spot in their day.
And honestly, I felt that when we first met. Honestly, I don't. It was a fun meeting, but the only person that stood out was you. You're the person that after I heard everybody speak and I met everybody, I was like, I need to go meet her. And that's what I did after the meeting. I came and introduced myself. I said, we have to go have coffee. I like the way you think. I like how you talk, how you represent yourself. And I just felt like I would learn something from you, you know? So that's all. Yeah, keep that up.
Well, it was such a beautiful connection because it was like eye to eye, soul to soul. It's like, I got to talk to this guy after the meeting. There was a room full of people and I was busy chatting with someone else and you just came right up and it was like, we've known each other for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And we just happened to meet that day.
Yeah.
There are no coincidences.
It was I'm really happy. I'm really happy we met. Even like it turns out we know some similar people. Nick, he's a mixed martial artist.
Yeah.
He recently started training at my gym and he came right up to me and was like, Susan.
Yep. Wonderful guy. Totally turned his life around.
Yep. Yeah. I've been slowly just learning about his story and yeah, he's amazing. He's really cool.
Yeah.
But how did you get into mentorship, coaching?
Oh, I think that my whole life I was always involved in continuing education. As a kid, I always had to be the top A+ student, and most people, they just couldn't wait to get through school and get on with their life. But I always loved teaching and learning. And I started working at SGI, and it started out as a temporary job. After I worked there for 39 years, I decided I better figure out what I want to be when I grow up. I had been listening to all kinds of podcasts. I started listening to people like Louise Hay, Jim Rohn, Wayne Dyer, and then I found Bob Proctor. So I was always listening to positive podcasts. And what I loved about SGI is they were always up for continuing education. So while I was there, I ended up earning my fellowship of the Insurance Institute of Canada. I taught the bodily injury course to adjusters who wanted to become injury reps. And after 20 years of being an injury rep specialist, dealing with severe brain injuries and spinal cord injuries, I thought, I got to do something more fun. I have to help people in a way that felt authentic and real and brought out the real spirit inside of them instead of just based on legislation and claims and, what a person can and cannot do. So I just decided that after 39 years in a good government job, got to do something that felt more fulfilling.
Speaking of SGI claims, I used to help a girl. She used to drive out to communities and do like the assessments for SGI on people who were in car accidents and stuff. And I used to just drive her out, and I would sleep in the car, and she'd do the assessment, come back, and I'd drive her so that she could do paperwork. I wonder if you know her. Do you know someone named Lancy?
No, was that an auto adjuster estimator? Or
she actually worked with the people who got injured. So I don't know what position that is.
Okay. I don't think I know her.
And then report back to SGI.
I actually left SGI in 2017. Okay. So people would say that I retired, but I actually decided to do something different. And I left Friday the 13th of October, 2017.
Okay.
And I actually did some real soul searching and figuring out what I wanted to do. And I told you I started following Bob Proctor. Mm-hmm. Well, Friday the 13th of April 2018, I found myself in his living room in Toronto and decided that I wanted to be a consultant and help people really get what they want out of life.
You met him?
He was my mentor. I met him several times. Wow. The first time I went to Toronto was 6 days. He was on stage most of the time, but he would walk around the audience and we would talk to him. We'd have a chance to sit down and ask questions. But it was the last time that I know of that a busload of people could go to his actual home and see his studio. And I got a chance to sit in his studio, take a picture with his bookcase behind me. I had a nice conversation in his living room with his wife. It was a catered event. There was people there from all over the world. And he just felt like a grandfather to me. I still have a picture from that day back in April of 2018.
That's cool. Yeah. I don't know much about Bob Proctor, but what I do know is kind of honestly what your husband was, what we were chatting about was about paradigm shifts. He's big on paradigm shifts.
Big on paradigm shifts. That he always talked about, change your thoughts, you'll change your life. And people just use that as a one-off quick little sentence, but it's so true. Like, people talk about they want the world to change. How many people try and change their spouse or change the people around them or change their community? Just talk about, if everything changed, I would be happy. If this was different, I would be happy. If only this was different, maybe I could be wealthy or I would find the love of my life. But it's all about internal. It's all about the thoughts that you think eventually come out in your results. So it's not about positive thinking. It's about, what do you focus your thoughts on? So he talked about paradigms, and a paradigm is simply a multitude of habits. And it's the way we habitually think, habitually act, and habitually feel. You know how you can get triggered when somebody says something? It's just habit. And a lot of people go to work and they come home, oh, I'm so sick and tired. Well, say sick and tired enough, you become sick and tired. You just become what you think about. And he taught me that we don't get what we want. We get what we are. We get what we're in vibrational harmony with, because we are energetic beings and we give off a vibrational energy. So you attract like energy to you. People, resources, circumstances. So that's what I love about what I do. Following his legacy is helping people change their thinking patterns so that they can create the life they want instead of settling for what is.
So how would you begin to help somebody shift, especially if they're super negative, if they're just like stuck in like the world's out to get them, everyone's working against them, everybody wants to see them do bad?
Well, the very first thing is You're not going to change someone who doesn't want to change, or who has such a deeply entrenched victim mentality that they think the world is out to get them. The first step is they want to change. And so I sit down with people and I find out where you are in life, what brought you to this point, and what you would love instead. And then we we kind of reverse engineer. What would you love? If we didn't have to worry about parents or exes or the economy, if you didn't have to worry about how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take, or what's going to get in the way, if you know what you want, if you can dream it, if you can focus on it, if you can keep a vision in your mind and get emotionally involved, it'll happen. So I guide people through that process, thinking from a beautiful, audacious, bold goal of what they would truly desire. And we work on the inner voice, the mental chatter, getting rid of the noisy roommate in your head, the naysayers, and not worrying about other people's opinions. But if you could do or be or have anything you wanted, what would that look like? What would that feel like? What would that mean to you and your family? And then we go after it. Because it's not only about thinking and pretending, using your mind, visualizing, but also acting the part, starting to take different action steps, starting to behave in a manner that matches what a person really wants.
Do you believe anyone can be successful?
Yes, everyone can be, because everyone has a divine spark of energy in them, and that means everyone has infinite potential. It's just that most people have been taught that they're limited, either by their race or their gender or their nationality, their culture. I can't because. And the first thing is, if you have a reason, you're going to fall back on why you can't. And if you have a really good excuse, a really good reason, you have to get rid of that idea that you're only that. You have to remind yourself that you truly are God's highest form of creation. Mm. Everyone has been gifted with an intellect. We're here living in a physical body. You might say a meat suit, mm-hmm. a costume, but your body is simply an instrument of your mind. And where your mind predominantly goes, where your thoughts go all the time on repeat, that's the kind of stuff that you attract back to you. So it's really paying attention. It's about increasing awareness of, what am I thinking? What am I doing? If I really was the person that I know I can be, how would I be acting? What would I be doing differently? And no excuses.
I read somewhere once that the creator has already given you all the tools to become the person you're supposed to be.
Yes.
So when you pray, it should be out of gratitude. You shouldn't be asking for anything because you already have it. And I think about that a lot now, because I truly believe I can do anything. I can get through anything. I've never really felt. I see a lot, like everyone's been through struggles. Everyone's had obstacles, but I don't feel like I can relate to a lot of people, which is like sometimes hard, especially for my boxers. You know, obviously a lot of boxers come and talk to me and ask me for advice or perspective. And sometimes I don't know how to relate, because I don't feel like if I was in their situation, I would be struggling with it that much, you know? So I don't know how to relate to give them advice.
Oh, you said so much.
I know.
Cole, I love that you believe you can do anything. And it's people that believe they can do anything that change the world. Most people have heard from the time they're little kids, don't do that, you're going to get hurt. You can't do that because stop, don't, and you can't do that. And so we're so programmed to that we're limited. And yet, if you believe in infinite, that there's no beginning, no end. And if you truly believe that everything you want is here, it just hasn't been revealed yet. You have to embody that, which means you have to develop the skills and the talents, the abilities that you have. And so often people think they're not talented, or the skills and abilities and talents they have, they just take it for granted, or they think everyone can do that. Each one of us is uniquely created. And if you think you've been put here for a purpose, you have human hands to bring something new and different into creation. And yes, I believe God is a creator. But when you say, I want a new house, it doesn't go ping, there it is. There's a process. You have to decide, what do you want? What does it look like? You might go into some extreme detail, and then it gets built, usually by other people, and then you just move into it. So you don't have to do everything by yourself, but you have to know what you want and have good people helping you. And you have to believe in yourself. Bob Proctor always said, faith and fear are invisible forces, and you get to choose which one you believe in. There are so many people in this world that are so programmed to live through fear. But if you start to have faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith that everything that you need will show up at the right place and the right time. If you're going on a trip and you're worried about where's the money going to come from, or how am I going to get there, you're not leaving for the trip for 3 more months. So you don't need to know today. It will happen at the right time, at the right place. And you have to be ready to receive. So you're right about prayer. I've heard that worrying is like praying for what you don't want. So when you have faith and gratitude and you pray saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, not only for what you have, but for what you want as well. Thank you for, pick something. And the more you focus on and the more you feel like you already have it, it just becomes part of your life. It almost works like magic. It's not magic, but you focus on being grateful for a future ideal way of living, and you start to act that way. All of a sudden you're living that way. It just happens naturally. So you can't say, I hate people that have money, or, that guy's an idiot, and then, oh, I hope something good happens. You can only go one way or the other. So most people are just, divided energy. And when you really focus on where you're going, what you want, how it feels now that you're there, and being truly grateful, that vibrational energy is sent out into the universe. And people show up, circumstances show up, opportunities are presented all the time. Most of the time we don't see them because we're not looking for them. We're looking for the problems, the reasons why something can't happen.
So do you, when it comes to mindset, well, first off, for you, what is mindset to you? You had to define mindset.
Well, let me talk about attitude. I believe that people say, he's got a bad attitude, or if he just changed his attitude, things would be better. But attitude is a composite of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And your mindset is if you believe that something's going to happen, you're programming your subconscious that this is going to happen no matter what. And if you believe in your mind that it's not going to happen, no matter how hard you try, it's not going to happen. So people will talk about, this is going to take a long time. I'm never going to get there. Well, that's your mindset. So of course you're never going to get there because you don't believe it's possible. So you have to have belief and faith and understand that your thoughts are a very powerful energy. We think in secret, but we see around us what we're in harmony with. Our environment actually reflects our thoughts and our actions. So to start anything, a new business, a marriage, a trip, you have to have the mindset that this is where you're going, this is what you want, it's going to be successful.
It's a lot to think about. Okay. Thoughts, feelings, actions equals attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happens if they're not aligned? What happens if your thoughts and feelings, because this is what happens to me sometimes, is I just ignore my feelings. It's like tomorrow, I have things I'm gonna do tomorrow. It doesn't really matter how I feel, I'm gonna do them anyways. So like, even if my thoughts and my feelings are like, you should probably just stay in bed, I just ignore them and I just act the way I think I should act. What is that?
Well, should act according to who? According to society or according to...
Here's like, no matter what, tomorrow I'm going to be a dad to Royce. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't feel like it, you know?
Exactly.
I'm still going to go coach. I'm still going to love my wife. You know, there's things I'm just going to do no matter how I feel, no matter how much my brain is like, take the day off.
Yeah. Well, and that's a really good thing, because if you have that discipline where you're going to put out your best no matter what, you're going to be the best dad to Royce that day, even if it's a 3 out of 10 day, because that's all you have left in the tank. So sometimes, we give and give and give and give, and then we get miserable and resentful and like, when's it my turn? If you're giving from the heart, if you are filling yourself up, if you are feeling truly grateful, more often than not, you're going to be having a great day. You can start the day with, what am I grateful for? Even if Royce is whining and screaming and up an hour earlier and you just want to stay in bed, you know that as a father, as a devoted father and husband, you're going to take care of your family no matter what. And yeah, we're all human. There's days that you just want to crawl back in bed.
Royce, you're a man now.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Well, what's really important is he's at the age where his subconscious mind is wide open. He is listening to everything you say and do, and he is watching. And even if you tell him one thing and you do something else, he's going to see the discrepancy, the disparity. So you started to go down the road of what if it's not in alignment? That's what I call praxis. You want your thoughts, your feeling, your body, the ideas that you have. This job is going to be successful. My son is going to grow up to be the best husband and father. You see that for him, rather than chastising him and calling him a brat and telling him that he's no good. If he gets emotionally involved in that feeling that he's no good, he's going to grow up thinking no matter what he does, it's not good enough. So that's part of our deep subconscious programming, the things that we heard growing up from people who meant well, from parents and grandparents that loved us. If they said, oh, don't do that, are you an idiot? okay, well, I must be an idiot. I keep doing that. So, oh, you stupid idiot. Like, why do you keep doing that? And so we don't even have to have anybody telling us we're not good enough. We beat ourselves up. And so that inner voice has to change and be kinder and more gentle and more generous and grateful. And we start to tell ourselves, you are awesome. You are divinely created. You are co-creating your life with God. If today was your last day, what do you want to be known for? What's a legacy that you want to leave for your family, for the community? What do you want people to say about you? You're a good man. You did your best. Right? Some days are hard. And discipline, Bob Proctor would say that he went into the army and people think that that's what discipline is, or beating your kids, that's discipline. That's not discipline, that's torture. Discipline, self-discipline is giving yourself a command and following it. You want to get into the best shape of your life. You can't lay on the couch watching the training video. You got to get up and do it.
Okay, so then when we talk about mentorship, because I also think mentorship is very important, and I've had mentorship in pretty much every area of my life. And I'm a copy and paster. Like the amount of my own thoughts I've had is probably not very many. I'm just like a product of the people who have helped me in my life. Like my business coaches are actually, our business coaches were also our marriage coaches, our life coaches, our finance coaches. And then in boxing, I had a lot of mentors in boxing and sports and things like that. But I remember hearing what the heck's his name? Anyways, he said, show me your mentor and I'll show you your future. If you don't have a mentor, chances are you're living your future. And that stuck with me.
Oh, that is so profound, because we're trying to create a beautiful future. But if we're looking at the present and past, and we're basing our future goals on what happened in the past, or our current level of thinking, or the way we've always done things, we're just going to keep revolving around and creating the same. In order to create a different future, you need a guide. You need a star that you're shooting for. You need something that really pulls at your heartstrings. Otherwise, you're going to settle for whatever comes along, or you're just going to do what's in front of you, and then each day turns into a repeat of yesterday. And if you really want something, mentorship is so important, because from our current level of thinking, we can't get to that highest level, the ideal person that we want to be, unless we've got a map and a guide, someone to encourage, and an idea that pulls us. So I spent years reading all the self-help books. You might have heard them called shelf help, because you read a book, even something like Think and Grow Rich. Hundreds of thousands of people have read Think and Grow Rich. Not everybody has thought their way into richness because they read it and put it back on the shelf. You actually have to do the work. You have to embody the idea. You have to...
Application of the information.
Yes. Knowledge isn't power unless it's applied.
Yeah. It's I'm like, I have like an addiction to books. If somebody recommends a book to me, I'm probably going to buy it. So I have a bookshelf with a lot of books.
So do I.
And I'm probably not going to get to because I keep buying other ones. And I'm just like, what am I doing? I should finish these ones. But I just love knowledge. I just love learning. I love perspective. And I love, because like a lot of those books, and even like my friends, they say like, they all just say the same thing. And that's what I love. I love that it says the same thing because that means it's simple. That means it's like, for one, it works.
Yes.
For two, it's like you're making it complicated,
Right.
But it's just simple. It's just like with boxing, it's like we throw the jab and then we do it 10,000 more times. And it's like, oh, we're jabbing again? Yep. And we're going to do it again. And we're going to do it again. And we're going to get really good at it. And it's like, there's not that much to boxing. There's like some punches and some moving. And we just do that forever until you get really good at it. And it's like very simple. And that's what I like about reading. It's just like from a different angle, but it's the exact same thing. And then from a different angle and then a different angle. And then when you come up to it, you're like, well, this guy did it. So I can do it. And now you got some like perspective. You got some, just going in blind.
Well, and if you're disciplined enough to do it properly 10,000 times, you're going to be better than your opponent. Mm-hmm. And I heard that we have 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are on repeat. So if your thoughts on repeat are all about what happened to me, and the excuses and the reasons why I am where I am and I'm stuck in this, that will hold you there because you've thought that thought 60,000 times a day for how many years? Right. So in order to change and become the ideal version and living the life that you want to live, you have to stop the noisy, the monkey mind chatter of I can't because it's too hard. I'm never going to amount to anything. All the negative self chatter is what holds people back, sabotages their results. And it's because the subconscious mind is running the show. And that's where the paradigms live. So a person can say, I want to be the next best boxer. I am going to be the greatest thing ever. And they do the workouts. But if they feel inferior, if they have a doubt, if they start second guessing themselves, they start thinking, oh, this guy's better than me, they're beat before they get into the ring. You have to have that success mindset that I am doing this. I am that. And then you attract everything necessary to be that, to be the best.
What do you think the I guess like the most damaging self-limiting belief is?
I'm not good enough.
Yeah, there's these guys in LA who they help addicts and homeless people. And they ask them, so before they help them, they ask them, do you believe you deserve a better life? And if they say no, then they won't even try and help them. They'll just move on until somebody says they believe they deserve something better. Then they'll help that person. They said if they don't even believe they deserve a better life, they're not going to do anything to change anyways.
Wow. I look at serving the worthiness of the person because people have been programmed to believe that they're not worthy, that they're not good enough. They might have heard somebody with an offhand remark when they were a baby or 3 years old and heard their parents fighting or heard a bully at school. Anything that would trigger an emotional reaction, because your subconscious mind is the emotional part of your mind. Your conscious thinking, educated mind, that's where you're taking in the knowledge. That's where you can say, yep, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to get up and do that. But the subconscious programming is the messages that have been encoded at a cellular level, that the unworthiness, or I'm not good enough, or whatever the negative or the reasons, the excuses, I'm not good enough. Even if it was programmed by other people, the thoughts in your head that you don't even know they're there. They're just automatic. If you ever just stop and think about what you're thinking about, okay, well, that's where I'm going. I better change my thoughts. One really good practice, well, a few different things. If you're not feeling good, or you're kind of at a low spot, you can write out, just like you're telling your best friend, all the crap that's happening in your life, everything that's going wrong, how you're feeling, and pour it all out. And then take that piece of paper and shred it or burn it. And it kind of has a little bit of a psychological release. But then you want to write the opposite and start telling yourself, I am worthy. You can look at yourself in the mirror and start saying, I believe in you. You are worthy. I love you. And the messages that you tell yourself, especially when you're looking in your own eye, those will encode a new belief system. It will start to reprogram. It'll get rid of some of the old junk, just like a computer update. Mm-hmm. But it takes repetition. And, with a conscious mind, a person can think, yeah, I'm going to do that. But the repetition, the new information, yes, you are worthy. Yes, you got this. Yes, I believe in you. That's what's going to make the difference. And waking up every day with gratitude. I have a practice where I write out 10 things that I'm grateful for every single day. In the beginning, it was like, I don't know if I have 3 things I can be grateful for. But it's like, when you can feel truly, I'm sure you wake up and most days you are completely and totally grateful for your wife and your son and the life that you live. And waking up in a bed, in a home, in a comfortable place, having clothes to put on and food in the pantry. When you start getting on, what are you grateful for? Can have a big, long list. But when you feel it truly from your heart, and then you might send love to people who bother you, and then just sit for 5 minutes and ask for guidance for the day. God, your higher self, universal intelligence, spirit, whatever you want to call it, you will get messages.
Do you meditate?
Yes.
Every day?
Yes. Probably I could be better at it. But when you sit down to meditate at first, your mind, it just goes everywhere, right?
That's exactly what I was going to get to.
Yes. And, that's part of meditation, is recognizing the thoughts that cross your mind. And, okay, I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes and meditate. Oh, I got an itch that I have to scratch. I wonder if I turned the stove off. I got to make supper. This is stupid. Like, this is taking too long. What am I supposed to be listening to? And then it's just a practice.
I feel like, when I meditate, I feel like I'm doing this because people said I should meditate. So then I'm just like, I don't know.
Do you sometimes just see black, or just have like a feeling of nothingness? There's no thing, no time, no space. No,
I don't think so. I'm like, because even me and my friend Esteban, we were talking about this. We were talking because he likes to go out and fish on the lake just by himself. He says it's just like peaceful. And I said, I, I would rather just go to the grocery store and get the fish, because I feel like it's a long time being wasted to get a fish when there's just fish at the store. But then that's what you're saying. You don't meditate, or you don't feel like you need to be by myself. And I never feel like I need to be by myself. I never feel like I just need to be sitting. Like, I never feel like overwhelmed, or I need to like decompress, or like, I just always feel like I need to be around people. And I don't know what that means either.
Well, maybe you pick up energy from other people if you're an extrovert.
Yeah.
Maybe you get energized from being around people. I get my energy by being quiet, being alone. And oftentimes I won't even have music on. It'll just be quiet. And that's a good way to block out the noise of the outside world, where you're not listening to the constant negative news, because there's so much coming at us all the time. And we take in billions of bits of information through our senses. You're taking in everything around you through your five senses, what you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. But if you block that out and you're just quiet, it does take practice, but you get to a peaceful feeling and a calm state. And I think so many people are under such constant stress and forcing themselves to go, go, go. And you said something earlier about forcing yourself to do something, even if you don't feel like it. Well, there are times that, that's important to do. There's also times that you have to rest, relax, and rejuvenate, because even machinery will break down without maintenance. And rest is just as important as go, go, go. And oftentimes when we slow down and take a breath and relax, we get a chance to clear our head and a new idea comes. And if you've been working on a problem and focused on the problem, you can't find the solution until you back away from it and like distract yourself. Maybe have a shower or go for a walk or play with Royce, and then come back to it. Oh, the problem is solved. You got a new idea. Just when you're not so focused on the problem, a solution will come up. And when I was working full time and taking care of kids and teaching classes and go, 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 always felt like I had to do one more thing, and it was never good enough, and one more thing and one more thing. But when you just step back and refresh and relax, get some proper rest, you come back with a clear head and you can do 10 times more in half the time, just because there is such a thing as diminishing returns. Sometimes the harder you push, like pushing a boulder up the hill, look at, it can be easy, it can be fun, it can be simple. It doesn't have to be go hard or go home all the time.
I don't like hearing any of this. I'm like such a go. I'm like pretty fidgety. I'm like always multitasking. I'm always even sleeping. Like I'm like a 5-6 hour sleeper.
You might only need 5 or 6 hours, but if it's quality sleep, a lot of people think they're good multitaskers, but the brain can't multitask. It's actually divided attention. It's a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. If you actually practice focusing, you can get a job done faster, better, and then go on to the next thing. You could try focusing on a dot on the wall for 5 minutes. After 5 seconds, you're going to go, this is nuts. She's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. But it will train your focus. And what I said earlier, if You have a beautiful picture in your mind of a goal that you want to achieve. If you focus on it and get into it as if like you might be watching a movie and you're the actor in the movie and you're thinking and feeling that part, it becomes like deja vu. It just happens. So when you're distracted too much, you just kind of do whatever comes along. When you're focused on a goal, you can go through walls to go after what you really want. But it does take practice. We have 6 intellectual faculties. Perception is one thing where you and I can be in the same room. We can be observing the same thing and come away with 2 totally different opinions, 2 totally different points of view, just like we're on opposite sides of the room and we're seeing different things. We're going to leave here having a different perception of what happened. We've got intuition and imagination. And if you're quiet, you can strengthen your imagination. You can come up with all kinds of beautiful ideas, things that have never been created before. But your will needs to, if you work on that focus and develop your will, it comes faster and easier than you can even imagine. You can also develop your memory. So we've got perception, will, imagination, intuition, memory, and reason, your ability to think. And people don't really think. They have busy mind chatter going on, but they're not really thinking about, what do I really want? Why aren't I doing it? What's holding me back? If I just changed a few habits, if I just changed the way I'm talking to myself, if I just changed some of my thoughts and did things a little bit differently, your life would be on a whole different trajectory.
It's like, man, you're giving me so much to think about. That's like,
we might be here another 2 hours.
I know. When I talk to young kids who are in high school and they're thinking about university, they're thinking about what to do or what career to go into, and they ask me what they should do, and I always ask them back, what kind of lifestyle do you want? And they almost never have an answer. They're like, oh, I've never really thought about that.
Right.
I'm like, well, what are you thinking about going into? And they'll say whatever. Let's say they say law or a lawyer. I'm going to be a lawyer. What does that like? Have you talked to a lawyer? Do you know what their lifestyle's like? Are they happy? Are they like, why do you want to be? Oh, they make lots of money. But it's like, you should probably look into that and see if that's the lifestyle you want. Right. You know? And I feel like a lot of not just kids, but adults too lack self-awareness. Me included. Me as well. I feel like I'm very aware of what's other people are going through. But when I try to apply that to myself, it's just like, I don't know. But like I notice like a lot of people tell me where they're at, and it's not even close to where they're at. You know? And I'm like, I'll be again, you know, like when people say something like oh, when I do that, when I put my mind to it, I'll do anything. I could finish anything. Like there's nothing. And I'm like, well, you know, you're divorced, you got fired from 2 jobs, so clearly when you put your mind to anything, you can't, you know. And I feel like people's self-awareness of where they are, so then like when they go to help themselves, it's like they're helping themselves from the wrong position because they actually think they're over here, but they're way over here.
That's right. Because they only have their own perspective on their own life and they're thinking from their current level of reality and what they learned what they believe. And so the questions that you're asking are really good, because a lot of people don't know what they want to be when they grow up, or they think, I'm going to be a lawyer because I want to make lots of money, or the parents were doctors and they tell the kids, you have to be a doctor. If you've got a different idea in your mind of what life looks like, you can go to school and be educated into a career and then hate what you do because you don't have that work-life balance, or you don't feel that that's your purpose. Oftentimes, people are on a path for a certain career or lifestyle, and then they realize that's not really what I want. Sometimes they feel like I'm too old to change, or I have to do this to please my parents, or I have to do this because somebody's paying for it. A person should really sit back and decide what they want. And lifestyle is a big part of it, because a lot of people think they want more money, or they say they want more money but they're not prepared to work for it. Or they think that you have to work 80 hours a week just to make ends meet. All of those are paradigms. All of those are based on limiting beliefs that were programmed in by society, by parents and relatives. And so that's why mentorship is so vitally important. And I didn't know that growing up. You just do what you think is best, but you're thinking from your own level of awareness. And I help people transform their thinking, and then their life transforms.
Right. Yeah. How, because there's always if so for specifically self-awareness, what would be a way to maybe develop that, or even like, okay, even with boxing, when I'm watching somebody box, like I can see their hands drop, I can see them being lazy, but like I do that too, but I don't realize it until maybe I'll set up a recording, or I take a video, and like I always think after, like, why wasn't like, but like I don't really know how to get better at self-awareness. Or do you think that that's why mentorship is just mandatory?
That's why mentorship is so important, is because we all have our own self-image, and we'll never outperform our own self-image. But the good thing is, when someone brings it to your attention, like, we all have blind spots. When you develop an increasing awareness of the words that you're saying, the limiting beliefs that you have, and that comes from internal reflection, that comes from exercises like writing down, what do you think about this? What is my perspective on this topic? And writing it out and looking at, what are my beliefs? Why do I believe this? Where did it come from? Who told me that? Maybe it served you in the past, but it's not going to be helpful in the future. So there are some things, some baggage that has to be left behind, some tweaks that have to be made, but we develop increasing awareness through study, through ongoing education programs, through mentorship and coaching, and developing a stronger awareness of whether or not our thoughts, feelings, and actions are in alignment. Am I living in integrity? Am I doing what I say I'm doing? Am I doing what I'm telling my clients to do? Am I focused on giving from the heart? And a little bit of a review. Where did I fall down today? And then not beating yourself up, but being objective, looking at it as a stranger might, and saying, how could I do this better? What if I was 1% better tomorrow? how much better my life would look at the end of this year.
It's like interesting with the perspective, like 'cause I feel like two people could have two opposite perspectives and like both be true. Like
And
both,
it's their
right?
their own truth.
Right.
Yes.
And that's your, and because I always say to people, like, you're right, but I'm also right.
Yeah.
And I'm way happier than you.
Yes. And
I'm like, you're like defending being sad. You're
just
defending,
because you're happy, or that doesn't make the other person sad, but just because you're right, that doesn't make the other person wrong.
Yeah. I was like, you're like defending being upset. You're like here, like upset about something. And I'm like, well, if you just look at it this way, it could be good. And they're like, no, no, no. I'm like, okay, well, you're defending, you want to be upset. So,
and that is that paradigm. That is the chemical release in the body. Some people would rather feel miserable and a victim than actually admit that, oh, if they just change the way they're thinking, they could be happy. Yeah.
we're coming up to just about an hour here. I wanted to read this. This is awesome. This quote, Bob Proctor. This is all Bob Proctor?
All of it, yeah.
Okay. Your outside world is a reflection of your inner world. What goes on in the inside shows on the outside. Whatever is going on in your mind, you are attracting to you. And that's what you said right at the beginning of this.
We don't attract what we want. We attract what we believe. What we believe we're worthy of, what we believe we deserve, what we're in harmony with.
That's so powerful. And it's so cool because like if that was like it's true, I believe it's true. But if it was just like objective, objective is like gravity, right? Subjective is like how people view things, or is it opposite? Anyways, if it was like fact, like taught fact, this is fact, man, people would be like trying their best just to be good,
absolutely,
to be better, to improve.
You would never think another negative thought in your life if you realized the power of your thoughts, the power of the feelings attached to your thought, how much we hold ourselves back by saying, that's not for me, that's nice for that person, but I can't, because you've just shut down any opportunity to do it for yourself. Anyone can live the life they want, but they have to change the internal programming. They have to learn how to change that subconscious programming. And that comes from awareness, from coaching, from exercises, from reflection, from repetition.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
And focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. And that's the hardest thing, because people say, well, I'm in debt. Well, keep focusing on debt and how many bills you have to pay. The debt just gets bigger. It's not the way to earn money. You have to start feeling, what would it be like if I had all the money that I needed to do what I wanted to do? What would that feel like? And then not automatically dismissing it and say, yeah, that'll never happen. But what if it could? What would you create? What would you do with all that money? Who would you help? What would you do for your community? How would your life be different? That's why I am such a strong believer in coaching, because people don't do it by themselves. Everyone says, yeah, I'm going to do that, but no one can do it alone.
Well, I think we'll call it at that. I think that was awesome. I think you're awesome. I feel like I could talk to you forever. And it'd be awesome to just have you back on again and again and just keep picking your brain, because I love talking to you.
I love talking to
You
you.
made me think about a lot of things. But if there's anything you want to share or anything to wrap it up.
Well, I would love to let your listeners know that I'm available to chat with people, to have coffee, to find out where they're at and where they want to go and see if I can help them. I've been doing a morning mindfulness practice for about 5 years. I think some of the recordings have been put on YouTube now for the past couple of years. My YouTube channel is Morning Mindfulness with Susan A. McDonald, and that's free. Anybody can click on the Zoom link and come and listen from 7 to 7:30 live on Zoom, or listen to it on YouTube anytime. So the morning mindfulness practice, and I facilitate a class every Wednesday called Thinking into Results. So I help people take where they are and what they want to be, what they want to do, what they want to have, and work through the exercises so that they do reach some big, beautiful, audacious goals. So love talking about my clients' successes and starting out with being in debt or starting out with being in a bad marriage and totally turning their life around. We all know stories about people that went from homeless to multimillionaires. That's not fluke. It's not luck. It's changing mindset, changing thinking patterns, and going after goals that they really want. I said earlier, my company is called Transformational Change. So I've got a website, transformationalchange.ca. But I love speaking about this. I could talk about it all day long. So
This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. And yeah, you're incredible. You're awesome.
So are you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.